Are you thinking about moving to the Columbus, Ohio area and looking for a suburb that is extremely convenient to the airport, as well as one of the top malls and shopping areas, and also in a highly rated school district? Well, if so, Gahanna, Ohio might just be the right suburb for you. Hi, I'm David DeLuey, your Columbus, Ohio real estate agent, and today I'm coming to you from Gahanna, Ohio, specifically the Creekside area in Gahanna. Gahanna is located just on the east side of Columbus, right outside the 270 Outer Belt, and it's located just north of the Columbus John Glenn International Airport. So if you travel a lot, Gahanna is going to be an extremely convenient location for you to be. And like I mentioned as well, one of the top shopping areas in the Columbus area is just right next to Gahanna as well. The Easton Town Center and all the surrounding shopping and dining options is right here, conveniently located to you. If you want to know everything about living in Columbus, Ohio, moving to Columbus, Ohio, or relocating to Columbus, Ohio, make sure to subscribe and tap the bell so you can be the first to know what's happening right now in the Columbus, Ohio real estate market. I love it when people just like you reach out to me with questions about moving to Columbus, Ohio. So if you're thinking about moving, I would love to hear from you. Make sure to leave a comment below, or you can give me a call, send me a text or an email, or you can even schedule a Zoom call with me. All that information is in the descriptions below. So make sure to check that out and reach out to me with any questions that you might have.
In this video, I'm going to discuss some of the most common things that you might be thinking about in considering where to live. And then I'll let you know if living in Gahanna is going to be a pro or a con for that factor. Before we jump into the pros and cons of living in Gahanna, Ohio, let's take a look at some of the facts about this Columbus, Ohio suburb. First off, niche.com rates Gahanna as the 8th best suburb in Columbus, Ohio. Next, Gahanna has a population of around 35,000 people. Finally, Realtor.com just named Gahanna as the hottest zip code in the country for 2023. And since you're considering Gahanna enough to watch this video, let's take a closer look at why Gahanna is number one. Here I have the article pulled up right here. I'm just going to read some of this just so you get an idea of what they're basing their decision on. So it says Realtor.com's hottest zip code rankings take into account two aspects of the housing market. Number one, market demand as measured by unique viewers per property on Realtor.com. And number two, the pace of the market as measured by the number of days a listing remains active on Realtor.com. The hottest areas are those that have high demand from buyers. In other words, lots of unique viewers per property listed for sale, and fast selling homes, which is an indicator of limited supply. So right here, we can see the hottest zip codes in America in order. Number one ranking, 43230, which is Gahanna, Ohio, in the Columbus, Ohio metro area. So it says viewers per property versus the rest of the US. So 4.5 times the number of viewers per property, and then only 13 days on market. And that's the median days on market. It's only 13 days. So compared to the rest of the list here, that's actually the lowest of any of these markets on the list. And the median listing price is $351,000. So that's also near the bottom as far as the prices on the list. There's a couple here that are a little bit lower priced in Indiana and in Michigan, but significantly cheaper than ones that are in the Northeast. Here's one near Boston, one near New York City. So definitely seeing some value here in the Columbus, Ohio metro area. So again, here's another example from this list. So it's showing that the share of out-of-market viewers, so 45.7% of the viewers are actually coming from out of the market. So they're looking from other places and they're looking at homes in Gahanna, Ohio. So the top out-of-market viewer is, so 13.1% of those out-of-market viewers are coming from that New York City area. So if you're thinking about moving to Columbus, Ohio, or Gahanna, Ohio from New York City, leave me a comment below. Send me a text, give me a call, send me an email, or schedule a Zoom. Again, all that information is below in the description. I would be more than happy to help you make the move from New York City here to Columbus, Ohio. I'll show you around town, tell you about the areas that are popular, and I'd really take good care of you. So make sure to reach out if you're in New York City or anywhere else. But so New York City has 13.1% of the people looking in Gahanna, Ohio. So I'm just going to read here what they say again about Gahanna. So this year's hottest zip code, 43230, continued the legacy of Columbus, Ohio markets on the hottest zip codes list. So I'll get to this in a little bit, but Columbus is frequently on this list, zip codes in the Columbus market. So I'll get to that in just a minute. The Columbus area offers home shoppers the amenities and quality of life advantages of a larger town, but at a lower price point. This area is home to the Ohio State University, and locals can join in on the enthusiasm around college sports, as well as enjoy the exciting Short North Arts District, as well as a captivating food scene. Homes in this zip code were priced 2.7% below the Metro's average in June, so 2.7% below the Columbus area average in June, and it's 12.7% below the national median price. So pretty substantially below what the nationwide median price is, and then still a little bit lower than the median for the Columbus area. So the lifestyle and affordability available in zip code 43230 in Gahanna, Ohio, drew the attention of shoppers in the New York City metro. So again, you get the benefits of being right by a big city, and I'll show you the location here in just a minute to show you why Gahanna is actually a great location in the Columbus area. And but you're getting homes at a better price point. You still have the benefits of being in this bigger city, but you get a discount on pricing. So here we have the last time on the list. So the Columbus metro area, we were number 3 on the list just last year. So as you can see, a few of these zip codes, a few of these metro areas weren't on the list last year. Others are, pretty commonly on the list as well. Some it's been a little while. But so let's take a look at some of these areas in the Columbus area that have been on the list recently. So actually 6 out of the last 7 years, Columbus has had a metro or a zip code or a suburb on the list. So they do only pick one zip code per metro area. So you can't have 5 zip codes or 10 zip codes on the list. So it's just one. So they just pick the best one. So Gahanna is number 1 this year. So Worthington was number 3 last year. So Worthington's on the northern side of Columbus. It's located on the north side of along the northern border of the 270 Outer Belt. And then Lincoln Village is on the west side, kind of on the southwest side, south of Hilliard, and on the west side of Columbus. So that was number 6 in 2021. And then Reynoldsburg was number 2 in 2020. So Reynoldsburg is just a little bit south of Gahanna. And then Worthington was number 7 in 2018, which again, Worthington's on the north side. And in 2017, Hilliard was number 10 on the list, and Hilliard's located on the west side of Columbus. So now that we've talked about Gahanna being the number 1 hottest zip code in America, as well as Columbus's recent history of being on that hottest zip code list, let's start talking about the location of Gahanna, Ohio. So here we have a map pulled up, and here we have Gahanna located over here on the east side of Columbus. So you can see the Interstate 270 Outer Belt, and Gahanna is located just to the east of it, just a little bit north of downtown and east of downtown. But so first, let's talk about Gahanna's proximity to the highways. So obviously, as you can tell, Gahanna is pretty much located on the border of Interstate 270, which we call the Outer Belt or just 270. And so it's conveniently located here. Depending on where you are in Gahanna, you can get on Morse Road here to get on 270 here. This is the Easton Town Center, which is a really popular mall. We'll get to that in just a minute. You can also cross over. There's no exit here, but you can cross over 270 on McCutcheon Road or on Agler Road here. You can also get on 270 right here from Granville Street, which is US 62 right here, which US 62 merges with Interstate 670 here. So you can get on or go past there, as well as get on or go past here on Hamilton Road, or State Route 315 or 317, excuse me. So there's several places in Gahanna where you can get on the interstate. It's very convenient as well. So 270 makes a loop all the way around Columbus. So that's going to be really convenient for you. Generally speaking, there's less construction on 270 than there is on Interstate 70 and 71 or 670 near downtown. So 270 is going to get you around town pretty quickly. Now, currently, there is some construction happening at where Interstate 270 and Interstate 70 meet. So some of this area south of Gahanna does have some construction and some issues there. Can be a little bit confusing because sometimes the street signs, where it's saying, go in this lane to go on 70 East. Well, it doesn't always line up. So you got to pay close attention to where you're going and what direction you think you should be going, because it's not always entirely clear what direction you should be going or which turn you should make. But generally speaking, 270 is going to be a great way to get around the city. But if you need to, you can also get on 670, and that will take you west across town. It merges up with Interstate 70 to get you over to the west side of Columbus near Hilliard. Or if you need to go all the way to Dayton, it's another way to get there. So I would definitely consider the proximity to highways and interstates to be a pro for Gahanna. Next, let's talk about its proximity to downtown, the Arena District, and the Short North, which was mentioned in that Realtor.com article. So like I mentioned, Interstate 670 kind of ends right here at Interstate 270, but it can continue on as US 62 and take you right into the downtown area of Gahanna. So here's the Creekside area of Gahanna. So here's just right in the heart. So you're going to be, if you get on 670, it literally will take you just right across 270 there, and you got right into Granville Street. So it's really, really convenient to go that way. But so if you are trying to go to downtown, it's really simple. You just hop down 670, and depending on where you need to go, so 71 comes down this way and then goes to the west and then goes south here. So 70 and 71 share this section right here. They're both the same. And so this area can get pretty busy and congested. There's construction in there right now as well. So then 70 also goes this way to go to the east side of Columbus, or this way. But so depending on where you need to go, you can get to downtown Columbus pretty easily. Then obviously you need to get off, you need to find your parking if you're working downtown. So obviously that could be having its own challenges depending on how far you need to go and how far away it is from your interstate exit. But as far as getting to the downtown area, you're really convenient. As far as being in a suburb, it's, for example, way better than if you lived like way up in Lewis Center or maybe way up in Delaware. So Delaware doesn't seem all that far away, although it does distance-wise from, say, the Polaris area. But the reality is it doesn't take all that long to get there. But if you think about driving from Delaware all the way down to downtown Columbus, that's so much further, or from Sunbury down to Columbus, or from Marysville down to Columbus, even from, the Jerome Village areas up here in the Dublin School District. That's a lot further to downtown Columbus than Gahanna is. And you have an interstate to take you right there. So extremely convenient. So I definitely think that this is a top area for that. So the Arena District is right here. So this is Nationwide Arena, which is where the Columbus Blue Jackets play. They'll have big concerts and events, for example, Monster Jam in the Nationwide Arena. The Columbus Clippers, which is a minor league baseball team, is at Huntington Park. And our MLS team, Major League Soccer, the Columbus Crew, play at Lower.com Field right here in the Arena District. So again, right here near downtown, you can get there very easily right off of 670 as well. And then you have the Short North Arts District, lots of restaurants and bars right here in this area as well. This is also the Greater Columbus Convention Center right here. So all these areas you can get to extremely easily again, this is Interstate 670 right here, which is the one that takes you directly out to Gahanna and actually dumps you off into Gahanna. So I would definitely consider the proximity to downtown, the short north, and the Arena District to be a pro for Gahanna. Next, let's talk about the airports. So as you've probably seen on the map already, the John Glenn Columbus International Airport is literally right next to Gahanna. So I don't think you could have a much more convenient location than literally being right next to the airport. So obviously, maybe you might live somewhere a little bit outside this, city limits of Gahanna. Obviously, that could be the case, but you're not going to spend 30 miles driving to and from the airport each way. If you live in Gahanna, you're right there, maybe just a couple miles away. So that's extremely convenient. So you can get to the airport a few different ways. So if you took 62 and then got on 670 here, you just take your exits here and then come into the airport this way. Or if you were, let's say, on one of these other roads, or if you used your GPS and saw that there's an accident on 670 and there's a really big backup and it's going to make it hard to get there. Well, you could take Agler Road over here to Stelzer Road and then come in this way and then just get on International Gateway right here and go to the airport that way. And then there's also back ways from over here. So there are other ways you can get there other than going on the highway. So definitely a pro to get to the John Glenn Columbus International Airport from Gahanna. Now, the other airport in the Columbus area is the Rickenbacker International Airport. That's mostly a cargo airport. However, Allegiant Air does fly out of Rickenbacker. So if you're trying to fly to Florida on the cheap, that might be somewhere where you go. But generally speaking, if you're flying in Columbus, flying in or out of Columbus, you'd be using the John Glenn International Airport. So Rickenbacker, obviously it's a little bit further away, but still not too terribly bad since you're not really on the north side of Columbus. It could definitely be worse. So you just hop down 270, get off, and you're not going to be stuck in much traffic once you get down here because it's mostly warehouses and industrial type stuff. So you're going to be good. Once you get down there, like I mentioned, it's mostly cargo. So that's why you see so much of these warehouses in that area. So I would definitely consider Gahanna's proximity to airports to be a pro because you're going to be able to get there in and out real quick. Next, let's talk about Gahanna's proximity to the malls in Columbus. So there's really three major malls in the area, and two of them are probably what I would consider the most popular. So those are, in no particular order, the Easton Town Center and the Polaris Fashion Place. So Easton is actually right here next to Gahanna. So you're literally, like I mentioned before, Morse Road is on the north side of the Easton Town Center. So the town center itself is right here. So you've got an Apple store. There's all kinds of places. So this mall does have an indoor area right here. So some of these are parking garages. This is parking garage, parking garage, parking garage. There's parking garages all over the place here. So that's probably going to be your best bet for parking. This mall can get pretty busy, especially around the holidays. So it's definitely going to be easier probably for you to find parking in the garages at that point than just on the streets. But this other section up here, so you can see there's cars parked here, but there's also cars parked all along here. So it's a walking outdoor mall. So it's really beautiful. They have tons of lights out around the holidays. But so it's nice. It's a really nice mall. Lots of high-end stores, lots of nice restaurants to go to. It's very common to see restaurants here packed. So Mitchell's, Ocean Club, every time I've gone in the evening, that place is packed. So this is a really great mall, and it is so close to Gahanna. So there's plenty of other shopping centers on the perimeter of the mall, as you can see here. There's a Tesla dealership here, Cadillac dealership, Lexus. There's all kinds of places, Land Rover, Mercedes-Benz. Across the street here is the Best Buy. There's a Walmart. There's a Sam's Club. You can see all kinds of different places across the street here. There's a Whole Foods Market, more restaurants, REI. Dick's Sporting Goods, Field and Stream, Costco. Again, lots and lots of stuff. Even over here, there's more really nice restaurants, really nice furniture stores as well. Restoration Hardware is right there. Pins Mechanical is here. Really fun bar. Weenie Wonder kind of goes along with Pins Mechanical. They had that at Bridge Park in Dublin. Even though I've been to Pins there many times, I will admit I have never eaten at Weenie Wonder. And when I was there with one of my kids recently on a Sunday afternoon, they said, I'm never going to eat at Weenie Wonder. Oh well, it's just what it is. But I thought it was kind of funny. So Easton is a really great area. Love going there, especially during the holidays. So Gahanna is extremely convenient to Easton. So if you live further south, you might just take McCutcheon. If you live in this area, you might take McCutcheon across 270 and then just drive up Stelzer Road, and then you're right here at the mall. Or if you live way up here, you just take Morse Road, again, across 270, and there you are right at the mall. Now, if you live further south, I'd get on 270, and then depending on where you need to go, if you need to get off on the south side, you could take the exit at Easton Way and then come this way. Let's say if you're going to the Cheesecake Factory. But if you were going somewhere on the north side of the mall or to any of these shopping areas on the north side of the mall, then again, you might take the Morse Road exit. It's a little bit confusing here. So the interstate's actually 8 lanes. But between the 670 and the Easton Road exit, there's 8 lanes going this way. So you got 2 lanes. Well, I guess technically it's only showing one lane going this way. Then it splits off here as well, 2 lanes. And this goes all the way up to State Route 161, which takes you to New Albany. So that's a little bit confusing. So it goes all the way up here, from down here, all the way up here. So then you can also continue on 270 a little bit further, and then you take the Morse Road exit right here. So you actually, cross under the 161 traffic. And that's also if you are getting on 270 north from Easton Way. So you drive over this way and then you actually turn this way. And so you join with that 161 headed crowd. So you can, if you accidentally got on that 161 ramp, you're like, no, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to stay on 270. You can actually get back on 270 right up here, which is in the Westerville area, north of 161. So anyway, you'll be good that way. But so proximity to Easton is incredible. Now, if you're going to go to Polaris, again, you're going to want to get on 270 most likely, unless, again, you saw if there would happen to be an accident or something going on there. But you'll take 270 and then take it around Westerville. Then you'll get on 71 North. And so then you'll just take 1 of 2 exits. So there's either the Polaris Parkway exit. This is Polaris Parkway 750, runs on the south side of the mall. Or you can go just a hair further to IKEA Way / Gemini Place. So Gemini Place is on this side of the interstate, and then IKEA Way is just this little stretch right here. Obviously, IKEA is right there, and Topgolf, and then it becomes Worthington Road right there. So don't get confused if you miss something on IKEA Way because it's only a short stretch. You're wondering, well, where is this thing? It's right there. But so Polaris has a lot of shops. I've covered it in other videos, but great mall here. Again, lots of surrounding restaurants, shops, another Costco, Hobby Lobby, Cabela's is there. Anyway, lots to do in the Polaris area, but I still would consider this to be Gahanna to be relatively close to that. I would think that's convenient, especially more so than, say, Grove City, which is way down here on the south side of town. So, for example, from the Polaris area, it might only take you 15 minutes to get to the Easton Town Center, 15 to 20 minutes, maybe just depending on exactly where you are and depending on where exactly you're trying to go to. But it's really easy. You get on 71, just take the loop around to get on the 270, and then it's really easy to get off there. So super convenient, definitely a pro for that. Not as convenient for the Tuttle Mall, but again, there's maybe only a handful of stores that are at the Tuttle Mall that aren't at Easton or Polaris. So for Gahanna's proximity to the malls, I definitely would consider it a pro because you're really close to the East End town center and you're still relatively close to the Polaris Fashion Place. And those would be my top two choices for where to go anyway for the malls. So I definitely would consider that to be a pro. Next, let's take a look at some of the other locations that you might be interested in going to. First off, let's talk about Bridge Park. So I know we mentioned Short North already. Well, Bridge Park in Dublin is another great location to go to if you want to have some nice restaurants to go to, also enjoy the outdoors a little bit. So there is a new pedestrian bridge. It's just a few years old called the Dublin Link Bridge right here that crosses the Scioto River. And so you have this nice new development all in this section here of new, it's called mixed use. So you have typically restaurants or retail on the ground floor level. And then maybe you have offices on the second and third levels. And then you have, condominiums on the upper levels of these buildings. So, there's lots of people who live in this area, but then you also have a lot of people who come to the area to go to restaurants or go to bars or, go shopping. So it's a really nice area. And one of the nice things about it as well, just like at the Easton Town Center, is you have all these parking garages, but they are all free. So you don't have to worry about, well, do I try to find a parking spot that's, on the street? Maybe I can get in and out quicker. Hey, you just got all of these parking garages that are free. There's multiple ones on this side. Then you do have one right next to the library on the west side of the river. So here's kind of like Old Town Dublin. So this is the historic area of Dublin. So you have some really older buildings and older streets over here. Really cute area. But again, you still have some nice restaurants over here as well. So on both sides, you'll have people, eat over here, walk across the bridge, walk around over here, grab some ice cream, walk back. Really great area. So it's super convenient to get to because you're really close to the highway. So there's not an exit right here, which would be great if there was, but there's not. So this is still very convenient on Sawmill Road. You can get off here, and then there's multiple ways that you can get here. There's several kind of back roads that will take you down here. If you want to go to Kitchen Social, you can come up on this side. If you wanted to go to Pins, I'd probably come straight down here, and then you just have a roundabout, and then you can just take right into this parking garage right here. There's even an entrance to the parking garage right here. You can't really tell here, but right there's an entrance that takes you up into this parking garage. And so Pins is pretty much this entire length of this building because you have 16-bit bar and arcade on this side, which is open into Weenie Wonder, which is then open into Pins. So they are on the entire bottom floor of this building here. So really easy to get to. Obviously, if you wanted to, you could just come down Sawmill Road to Dublin Granville Road and then take this roundabout, which can sometimes get a little bit busy just because it's kind of on some major roads. But you can kind of get the full experience. There's a beautiful hotel here as well. But you can just drive right up here and then you can get the view driving along all the front side here at Bridge Park on Riverside Drive, but really easy to get to from there. Again, because you can just get on the highway, it's going to be super convenient for you to get there. Another location that you might be thinking about is the New Albany International Business Park. So New Albany is located right here, just to the northeast of Gahanna. And then the New Albany Business Park, it actually kind of goes all across the area here. So you have something like the Big Lots corporate headquarters over here. Technically, this isn't even the New Albany address. It's, I believe, a Westerville address. But so that's part of the New Albany International Business Park. Then you also have more places over this way. You have the Abercrombie & Fitch home office right there. You have AEP has a big headquarters right here. You got Bob Evans Restaurants. They got their headquarters right there. You just got all these, warehouses, distribution centers for limited brands, all kinds of things. So then you also have, Facebook's parent company, Meta, they have a data center right here. There's an Amazon fulfillment center, which doesn't look like farmland, that has actually buildings now. There's also Google. They have a data center. It's not being labeled right here, but they have a data center here as well. So there's a whole lot going on in the New Albany International Business Park. And one of the things that you may have heard of, maybe you're watching this video because of it, but Intel is building chip manufacturing plants on the north side of the New Albany International Business Center, closer to Johnstown a little bit. But so this is going to be home to 3,000 permanent employees. So big time news for the Columbus area. One of the biggest investments, I think actually is the biggest investment by a corporation into the state of Ohio in history. And from what I had heard was the jobs on average are going to pay $100,000. So 3,000 employees earning $100,000 a year right here in this area. So this area has been wild real estate wise, with, people selling their land, people selling their homes, some of which because they're saying, hey, I want to move away from all of the busyness of what's happening there. Other people just because they're wanting to cash in on the demand that's coming. But so this is going to be a really popular area. So if you're wanting to be working at Intel, or maybe you're going to work for a vendor or supplier for Intel, or some kind of a supporting role to them, maybe it's a business, maybe you want to start a business that's going to support them, Gahanna is a really convenient location to be in an already established area where you're not needing to wait for a home to be built or a neighborhood to be started, but where you can still be really conveniently located to Intel. But then you get the best of both worlds. You're still going to be close to Columbus and close to Intel, because if you lived somewhere like Grove City or Galloway or even Hilliard, you're on the opposite side of Columbus, where you've got to drive all the way across Columbus just to get over to Intel. Whereas in Gahanna, you're already on the right side of Columbus. So you just drive through New Albany and then you're right there. So extremely convenient if you're looking to work at corporate offices in New Albany, or maybe at Intel, Gahanna, or just the area to the east of Gahanna here. Those are going to be great locations for you if that's something that's important to you. So I would definitely consider Gahanna to have a pro for its location to New Albany International Business Center. Next, let's talk about affordability. So home prices in the Gahanna area, the last month, as of this recording, the average was about $383,000. So the average sale price. And then the median sale price was about $330,000. So that puts the average price per square foot right around $200 per square foot, which in comparison to some of the other popular suburbs in the Columbus area, that is a little bit lower than them. It's not the lowest, but as we'll get to in just a little bit here, the Gahanna School District, Gahanna Jefferson School District, is one of the highest rated school districts. So you really get a great bang for your buck if you're thinking about putting your kids in public schools. You're going to get a great value for getting in one of the top school districts in the area. So for example, a new construction neighborhood that's in the Gahanna Jefferson School District. So it's actually outside the city of Gahanna, but still in the school district. So it's located on the east side. So it's really kind of close to that Meta data center, really just like a mile or two away from there. So if you can picture being really close to this New Albany International Business Park and still in this top school district. So just to give you an idea, in the last 4 months, again, this is a new neighborhood, so some of the homes might be a couple years old now, but they're still finishing building new homes in the neighborhood. So 4-bedroom homes in that neighborhood in the last 4 months have sold from anywhere from $455,000 up to $679,000. Now, again, obviously that could depend on, maybe it was a floor plan with only about 2,000 square feet, or they do have some that are over 3,000 square feet. And then also you might have had more upgrades. Some of the bigger homes have a 3-car garage instead of just a 2-car garage, or maybe someone finished the basement in their home, or they had higher end countertops or higher end finishes and whatnot. So that's some of the discrepancy in prices. Is it's not just all cookie cutter homes. They do have some smaller homes, and then they have some bigger 3,000 square foot homes as well. So as far as home affordability goes, I would definitely give Gahanna a pro in that category. Next, let's take a look at property taxes. So for a home that sold recently for $310,000, there's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home with about 1,300 square feet that was renovated. The taxes on it were about $3,800 per year, which breaks down to about $313 per month. Next, there's a $500,000 home that sold it was a 4-bedroom, 3.5-bath home with about 3,600 square feet. The taxes on that home were about $9,900 per year, or about $825 per month. Now, I don't know about you, the $300,000 home didn't shock me a lot. When I hear that one, that sounds a little high to me personally. So maybe it does to you as well. Let me know in the comments. Does that seem high to you on a $500,000 home to basically have taxes of $10,000 per year? And then finally, a home that recently sold for just about $777,000. It's a 4-bedroom, 4.5-bath home, over 5,300 square feet. The taxes on that home were about $15,000 per year, or about $1,250 per month. Again, that seems a little high to me. But again, depending on where you're from, you might be used to paying $30,000 of property taxes per year, maybe for the same exact type of a home, maybe because the home price where you are, maybe that home would be a $2 million home where you're from. Maybe your taxes would be $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 per year based on that. So to me, although again, I know that it's kind of just considering what I'm used to, what I feel is appropriate versus what the standard is, that does seem a little bit high compared to some areas. That's definitely going to be higher than if you were in the city of Columbus for taxes. That's not necessarily the worst in the area, but I do feel like compared to some areas in the Columbus metro, those prices, those tax amounts do seem a little bit high, especially on that $500,000 home. I'd like to see those taxes probably closer to $6,000 per year rather than the $10,000 per year. But maybe that's just me. So I might consider the property taxes a little bit of a con. But one thing to consider obviously is that since you have lower priced homes here than you do in some other areas, you're getting your bang for your buck in another way. And so maybe you're paying more in property taxes, but you didn't have to pay as much for the home as you might have if you had it in a different location. So based on the different areas where I've lived in my life, I've kind of noticed that, maybe in Florida, you don't pay a state income tax, but your property taxes are higher. You pay a lot more in home insurance costs because of the risk of hurricanes. And, you have a relatively high sales tax as well. And then obviously, depending on where you live, you might have to deal with or get along with tourists being there all the time. So there's always trade-offs. So you don't get the tax in one area, but you get it in another. Or I've heard also that, like, for example, in California, maybe you have to pay a lot of money just to register your car there. But then in other states, you don't pay a lot to register the car, but then you pay a percentage in personal property taxes based on the value of your car. So they're going to get it one way or the other. Maybe they just call it something else. But so in Gahanna, it seems like the property taxes are a little high, but there's obviously a trade-off in all things. Next, let's talk about the income tax. So when you live in the Columbus area, you're going to be paying personal income tax based on where you live. So if you live in Gahanna, you will be required to file a Gahanna income tax return. If you have a job in Gahanna, your employer is required to actually withhold 2.5% of your income from your paycheck. So if you're going to be earning $100,000, they will withhold $2,500 from your income. So in comparison, both Columbus and Hilliard also have a tax rate of 2.5%, while Dublin, Powell, New Albany, Grove City, and Westerville, they all have a tax rate of 2%. So if you have a job in another city, for example, Columbus, where the tax rate is also 2.5%, you'd be getting that 2.5% withheld by your employer, but then you get a 100% credit of that tax that was paid. So you wouldn't owe anything additional to the city of Gahanna. But for example, if you worked in Dublin where the tax was 2%, you'd have that 2% withheld by Dublin, and then you would still owe the 0.5%, the remaining portion of that 2.5% total. You'd owe that 0.5% to the city of Gahanna. I'll rate the income tax in Gahanna as a con, just since it is on the higher end of income taxes for the Columbus area. But concerning the fact that it's only $500 per $100,000 of income, I don't really feel like it's that big of a deal, especially if being close to the airport is really important to you if you travel a lot. I know, your time is going to be a really valuable resource to you. So saving, just a little bit of money, maybe it's worth it to you, but I kind of feel like saving the time is going to be more worth it. And also considering the fact that your home price might be significantly less, $500 per year, that's about $40 per month, just a little bit more than $40 per month. You'll probably be saving more than $40 per month just on your home, your mortgage payment, your housing cost alone. So it kind of evens out. So even though I would consider it a pro from the technical sense, I think overall it probably doesn't matter, and you're probably gaining more benefits from being in Gahanna than you would be being somewhere else that's further away that maybe has a slightly lower tax rate. Next, let's talk about the schools. So in Gahanna, you are located in the Gahanna Jefferson School District, and it has about 8,000 students. So niche.com rates the school district with an A grade, which is great. And for the Columbus area, that rates them as the 7th best school district in the area. So there's 9 elementary schools ranging from an A grade down to a B+. There's 3 middle schools ranging from an A grade down to an A-. And then there's just 1 high school, and it got an A rating. So across the board, you have great grades for your schools in the Gahanna Jefferson School District. I'm definitely going to rate this a pro for the Gahanna Jefferson School District, not only because it's one of the highest rated school districts in the Columbus, Ohio area, but also because of how affordable the median home price is in the school district compared to those of the school districts that are rated higher than the Gahanna Jefferson School District. So the median sale price in the Gahanna Jefferson School District in the most recent housing report was $355,000, which puts it 17th on the list of the highest priced school districts in the area, which kind of sounds deceiving to say the 17th highest, right? It's really right around the middle of the road. So it's right in the middle as far as school districts when you're ranking them based on price. So in comparison, the school districts ranked higher had median sale prices anywhere from $478,000 to $870,000. So it takes a lot less money to purchase a home in the Gahanna Jefferson School District compared to ones ranked similarly. Next, let's talk about local amenities. So first off, let's talk parks and recreation. Gahanna has 750 plus acres of parkland, 42 parks, and 20 plus miles of trails. So for a city the size of Gahanna, I would definitely rate that a pro. Next, let's talk about shopping and dining. Like I mentioned before, you're literally right on the border of having the Easton Town Center in Gahanna and all of the surrounding shopping and dining. But there is still also plenty of shops and restaurants in Gahanna itself. So you are in luck if you live in Gahanna. I definitely would consider this a pro. Next, let's talk about public transportation. Now, the Columbus area does not have any trains or subways, so really your only public transit is the bus. Now, the bus does go through the Gahanna area, and like I mentioned before, you're so close to the airport as well. So I know that's not exactly public transit, but hey, you are sharing an airplane with someone else, aren't you? So you don't have to have your own car. You can get to the airport and you can fly wherever you want, and it's extremely convenient. So I would still consider this a pro versus living somewhere that's more rural where maybe there's no bus lines at all if you need public transportation. But if you just need to get to the airport, you're extremely convenient to that as well. Another local amenity is the annual Creekside Blues and Jazz Festival. So this is each summer, and it's located in downtown Gahanna in the Creekside district. So speaking of the Creekside district, It reminds me a little bit of Bridge Park in Dublin, which I mentioned earlier in the video. I know Creekside is a little bit older and maybe not quite as big as Bridge Park is, but it still gives me some of the same vibe. It's a chance to get outdoors, go to a restaurant, and kind of be in a central area where you can hang out and congregate with people. So I really like it. You can also go down to Big Walnut Creek and just really, like it mentions, it's Creekside. So you can get to enjoy nature some while you're also going out to eat and be with friends and family. Next, let's talk about job opportunities. So like most smaller suburbs, there aren't going to be as many large corporations with employment opportunities as you would get in the bigger city like Columbus. But there are larger corporations located just outside the city limits surrounding the Columbus airport and also surrounding the Easton Town Center. So thankfully, you can get to those areas extremely quickly. You don't even really need to get on the highway in order to get to them. So your commute's going to be really short, even though it's just outside the city of Gahanna. You can get there easily, or you can get on 670 and go to downtown Columbus. So I still feel like it's going to be a great opportunity for you living in Gahanna. Again, like I mentioned before as well, the new Albany International Business Park is also extremely convenient to Gahanna. So you do have lots of opportunities nearby, and then also just within a few miles away to get to some really incredible job opportunities. So I would still rate this a pro, even though in Gahanna itself, it's not that you have all these incredible opportunities right there in the city with, your dream job of Apple's corporate headquarters. It's not right there in the city of Gahanna. So you still are going to have some nice opportunities somewhere nearby. So why would you want to live in Gahanna, Ohio? Well, because you want to live in a suburb that's extremely convenient to the airport, the Easton shopping area, and relatively close to both downtown Columbus and the new Albany International Business Park. It offers affordable housing options, but it still feels like a nice place to be with desirable local amenities right there in the suburb. And if there's anything that you want to know about Gahanna, go ahead and let me know in the comments, and I would be happy to help you out. Remember, if you want to know everything about living in Columbus, Ohio, moving to Columbus, Ohio, or relocating to Columbus, Ohio, make sure to subscribe and tap the bell so you can be the first to know what's happening right now in the Columbus, Ohio real estate market.
Whether you want to look at a home today or in a few months from now, I would be happy to help make your move to Columbus, Ohio as stress-free as possible. Until next time, I hope to see you around Columbus.